Hey girl, hey girl, hey, hey, hey girl. Where is my light? Where is my light? Where is my light? Where is my light? Let's make it bright. Let's make it bright. I'm a light on a hill that can't be hidden. What? How y'all doing? It's been a minute since I've been on here live with y'all. Um, it's been a lot going on, and I am just happy to be here with you, ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening at this time. I am also recording my podcast at the same time. So if you are not subscribed to my podcast, but why? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sharing some gems there too. Have the same notes, but sometimes I got a little flow going on over there, and sometimes I got a little flow going on over here on the live. And then when y'all are on here on live, then I'm really responding. So if you follow my podcast and you subscribe to my podcast, but you not follow me on live on Periscope, I mean, what is you doing? For real. Like, what is you do? Okay, I'm doing the most. How y'all doing? It's good to be back with you all. Um, Last week I did not check in on live. I gave an assignment. So last week, this is your first time joining me. My name is Allyson A. Robinson. I am a identity and purpose cultivator coach, which means that I help you dig deep to understand who you've been called to be, who God has created you to be from the foundations of the world, aside from what you do, simply who you are, and then connecting that, tying that into what you believe or what God has called you and told you that He's called you to do. And so, my job, what I love doing is empowering young women to embrace their uniqueness inside and out. And so, identity isn't just what's going on the inside, identity is also what's happening on the outside. And so, that's accepting how you look, accepting the way that you feel about the way you look, and understanding that you're beautiful regardless. But yes, we can make some improvements along the way. Like, my people on live, you can't see this on my Periscope. I mean, on my podcast, but my face is slimming down just a little bit. I've been, drinking my water and trying my best to mind my business. So, I'm shrinking a little bit, but that's besides the point. So, last month, if you did not join me for last month's series, the topic for last month was all about identity. So I was going to start with what I'm going to talk about today, which is what purpose is. All about February is going to be all about purpose, identifying purpose, talking about what you believe your purpose is, how not to walk in something that you believe is your purpose, but it's really not. And I'm excited to talk about that because that's the culmination of how I got to where I am right now, was following in some type of different footsteps. But we'll get to that. But at first I was going to start with purpose, but then I realized you can't really identify purpose and really walk in purpose if you don't know who you are, if you don't know who you've been called to be, if you don't know, just simply when you look in the mirror. And I've talked about this all last month. Please check those videos out. I'm gonna go back and listen to them sometime. I feel low on myself, feel myself putting on them little masks. If you were with me, Loveless Laura, she sometimes pops up. So identifying the person that you're looking in the mirror at. And so if you're looking in the mirror, and people always say the eyes are the window to the soul, which is very true. That's even biblical because it talks about how the eyes are, like, basically, I need to look up the scripture, this is terrible, but basically it talks about how if the inside of you is dark, you know what I mean. I cannot think of that scripture, that's so terrible, I have to look it up. But besides that, just knowing and being able to identify the person that's looking back at you in the mirror. Because many times, do a quick recap of last month, many times we'll look in the mirror and we see a stranger, and that's because we've put somebody else up in front of us, somebody that we've created, so that way we don't have to feel the same pain we felt before. We don't have to feel this experience the same trauma. We don't have to go through the same heartbreak, the same sad situations, simply because we've put on this new persona. Because what we've told ourselves is the reason that happened to me is because I was my real self. The reason that happened to me is because I acted this way. I was really funny and I was really nice. And so somebody took advantage of that. So now I'm going to be really mean. I'm going to have a really hard heart and I'm not really going to engage with people. And that's the persona that we put on. That's not our authentic self. But we do it for protection. We do it so we don't have to experience certain things or really live up to certain mistakes that we've made. That's also part of it. So if you didn't catch those episodes, please go back on the podcast, on my live Periscope. I posted them to YouTube as well. You want to go and check those out because they are priceless. Because you really can't understand purpose if you don't understand who you are. Because I am a firm believer that a part of you living out your purpose and even accessing, just getting in the door to understanding the beginning pieces of it and where you should be right now, what God wants you to be doing right now to begin to walk in this lifelong journey of whatever He's called you to do. For you to be able to do that, you have to first accept who you are, because who you are is a big expression, is a big way that your purpose is going to be expressed. And so for me to reach out to young women and say, you're beautiful, you're amazing, be your authentic self, I first had to accept my authentic self. And my authentic self is over the top. I do too much sometimes. I'm very dramatic. I ask a lot of questions. That's just who I am. But if I wasn't that, then the way that whatever God put on the inside of me is supposed to come out, it's funneled through who I am. Like He knew that the women that I would attract to my message might be attracted by my voice. They might be attracted by the confidence that I have in my voice. They might be attracted by the fact that I have natural hair. They might be attracted by the fact that I wear glasses. They might be attracted to, just different things. And we think that they're so small and we're always wanting to change them, but we're not recognizing that through who we are and through the first thing people see, a lot of times us accepting that is what draws them in. My story is what draws people in. Me being honest, me being transparent. I learned a long time ago. I never forget. I had a dream, and God just kept saying. I just kept saying in this dream over and over. Transparency is my ministry. Transparency is my ministry. And so from that vein, I begin to express, the areas that I believe that women need a little bit of help in. They need a little bit of encouragement in, a little bit of empowerment in. And I do that through me admitting my mistakes and through me saying, this is what I did wrong. And so this is how I want to help you not to make them same stupid mistakes that I made. Okay. So but that's a part of my identity. It's me being willing to be open and be honest and be loud and laugh and share my testimony and share my stories through laughter and through freedom. But there are other people that don't share it that way. There are other people whose identities are not like mine. They're more quiet, they're more reserved. And there are people out in the world who cannot deal with me being over the top and extra. They can't deal with my voice. They need somebody that talks a little bit calmer, talks a little bit slower, gives more concrete information, more data, and that's how they're able to accept the same message. We could be saying the same things, but the way that it's expressed is completely different. It's drastically different. And so some people may be attracted to the way I do it, and then there are other people that are attracted to the way that they do it, and that's perfectly fine. Because once I accept my identity and I say this is who I am, I walk confidently in knowing the people that are supposed to hear my voice will hear my voice. The people that are supposed to hear their voice will hear their voice. So I say all that to say there are a whole slew of videos from January all about identity. And so I encourage you to go check those out, share them, like them, post them, whatever you feel in your heart to do. But we're going to get started on this month's message, which is all about purpose. So, what is purpose? So, my schedule, I went ahead, did a little planning. So week one, which is this week, we're going to talk about purpose is. So what is purpose? So this video, this podcast is all about me defining what purpose is. Then next week, we're talking about your purpose. So I actually have a worksheet that I'm going to give you before we get on that I want you to complete. And then we'll talk about the foundations of like what you believe your purpose might be. Week three, why knowing your purpose matters. And that one right there, that's gonna put a few of us in a little check mode, get us together a little bit. And then week four, everything is not your purpose, and that's a good one too. So that's like the driving force behind what I do. So this week we're talking about what is purpose. I feel like purpose is something that's thrown around a whole lot, and people are thinking, and I've thought this before in the past as well, that purpose is just one place, like it's just one destination. Like once you know it, then that's the only thing that you're going to go after. And I've learned through time and through listening to people speak and to listening to people that are older than me and listening to them and their wisdom, they're saying purpose is not just an immediate destination. Purpose is something that you're always striving to live out on a day-to-day basis, and it may be expressed in different ways. But what I do believe is there's a certain territory and there's a certain area and arena that you are given, that God has given you dominion over, so that way you can tackle that. And so when I say that, that goes back to what people always say about stay in your lane, because I believe that purpose is not going to take you to 50 million different places. Purpose is going to take you to, it's going to have one key destination, one key focus, but then how that is expressed, that's what's going to swerve and go in different ways. Okay? So I know that ultimately I want to have a girls empire. I want to do all kinds of things with young girls, empower young girls all over the world. That is my drive, that is my desire. I know that me talking and speaking and ministering to young girls, that's my thing. That is my thing. How I do it will be different. There are books, there's a podcast, I'm going live, I'm going to speak, I'm going to have after school programs, I'm going to do a lot of different things. So my purpose is not just I'm going to speak to young women and that all I do is speak. I don't write, I don't do anything else. I know that I have one key thing, and my ultimate destination and the territory God has given me is over young women and over empowering young women and over helping them discover their identity and get rid of the old identity that people try to give them based on who they were, based on what they look like. No, my desire, my overall passion is to empower them to embrace their uniqueness inside and out, because God has created you for a certain reason, for a certain purpose. And I say it all the time, and I'm about to put it on a shirt. You are a limited edition, available for a limited time only. And from the beginning of time and for all eternity, there will only be one of you. So the question becomes, what is the one of you? What are you going to do with what you have been given? Because the thing is, if you don't do it the way God needs it to be done in the earth through you, it will never be done the way that God needed it to be done. So you have to do all that you can to be your unique self. You have to do all that you can to live in your uniqueness every single day of your life. Because if you don't, what God needed to get out will not get out the way he intended it to. He'll have to piece some people together to try to get if you have one crowd and you don't do what you're supposed to do and you don't live your authentic self because you're scared or you're afraid and you're not walking in your unique identity and you're not going after that territory he gave you, when you're done here, when your time is up, these people are still left. And so then what God has to do is say, okay, now I got to come up with a few other plans to get this group, this section right here to go off with that person. I got to get this person right here to try to take these people off. And yeah, they'll get the message, but it won't be received the way I need it to be received through this person that I created. So it's time for you to walk your authenticity. So let's talk about purpose. So the definition of purpose, I always love to look up definitions. So the definition of purpose is a noun. It's the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. Let me read it again. The reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. So that means there's a reason you were created, there's a reason you exist. And it's not just to be out here YOLO. You only live once, do whatever you want to do all over the place. No, 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 no. There's a certain reason that you exist. There's a reason that you were created. So if you are ever feeling hopeless, you're ever feeling like your life doesn't matter, you ever feel like, well, if I just kill myself now, nothing matters, everybody will be fine, everybody will go on. No, we will not. No, we will not. We will suffer. And you think that you're just one life. But there's a specific reason, according to this, there's a specific reason that you were created, and there's a specific reason you exist. And so, because there's a specific reason, now we get into the mindset of, what is that reason? How do I discover that reason? Because when you're striving and you're going after that, even if it takes you 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years to discover it, it becomes a lifelong journey of discovering exactly who you were created to be. And I don't know about you, but to me, that's exciting because it's always I'm striving to understand why I'm here. There's a reason. You're telling me there's a reason that I exist? Yes. There's a reason I was created? Yes. There's a reason that you were not made to look like, sound like, act like anybody else on this planet. If there was no reason, we would all look alike. We will all have on the same shirt. We will all have the same hair texture. We will all have the same eyesight. We will all have the same body type. But you literally look like no one else. You literally sound like no one else. Your hair is not like anyone else. The number of hairs, the Bible says God knows the number of hairs on our head. So the number of hairs you have is different from anybody else on this planet. You can have 4,297,344,702, and somebody else can have 703. And that's fine because you have your unique amount of hairs on your head, and they have their unique amount of hairs on their head. So there's a reason you were created. There is a reason you exist. So when you're feeling hopeless, know that there is still a reason for you to be here. Purpose brings, I wrote this, purpose brings excitement and an overwhelming sense of responsibility with the newfound importance of time. Ooh, I like that. I wrote that. Let me say it again. Purpose brings excitement and an overwhelming sense of responsibility with the newfound importance of time. Now, this I'm going to get into week 4 because I feel like it's very important. No, not week 4, week 3. When you start to understand what you were created to do, when you start to at least knock on the door of your overall purpose, of the territory that God has given you, there's an excitement that comes first. But then after excitement comes a sense of responsibility. Now, sometimes what you'll find is people will avoid purpose and people will avoid knowing what they've been called to do because they can't handle the weight of the responsibility. That's real. You need to tweet that as a quote. I don't even remember exactly what I just said. Sometimes people run from the purpose that they've been given because there's an overwhelming sense of responsibility and weight that comes with knowing what your purpose is. And how do I know that? There was a guy, I think his name is Tim Ferriss. He did a TED talk and he talked about fear setting. And part of the fear setting, one of the steps that I love that really catches me every time I read it, is called the cost of inaction. And he has you list out all the things that happen every day you are not active. So he says after I think after 6 months, 1 year, 3 years. So after 6 months, what happens if you don't do what you're called to do? After 1 year, what happens after you don't do what you're called to do? After 3 years, what happens after you're not doing what you've been called to do? So for me, I'll speak from my experience because I've done it. If I don't empower young women to live in their uniqueness, what ends up happening after about 6 months, girls continue to do what they've been doing. Girls continue to be hurt. Girls continue to live in a place where they're not sure of who they are. And so they go about life pretending. And then when they're going about life pretending, what ends up happening is they end up making these long strain of bad decisions tied to the person that they've created themselves to be out of protection. And they end up making all these mistakes to fit in. They end up making all these mistakes that last longer than they intended for them to last. And so now, if I keep going and I keep being inactive, now a year later, those girls are trying to make up for the bad decisions that they've made. And so now there's a setback. And now they feel like they're in too deep. So now they can't get out of it. And then if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing in 3 years, then these girls are now becoming grown women. And now these grown women are out here pretending to be something that they're not. And now they're going about life and working jobs and dating people that they should have never allowed in their lifetime. But they wouldn't have known that had I started doing what I'm supposed to be doing 6 months ago, where I caught them and I told them, you are a light, you are a city on a hill that should shine. You do have a light, and your light does not have to be dim for other people to feel comfortable around you, but your light instead empowers others to show their light. And when I tell them that, then I say to them, okay, now there's a reason that you were created. There's a territory that you've been given. Let's discover what that is. Even if we're just knocking on the door of it, at least we're at the place where we begin to acknowledge it and we begin to put things in place and cancel out other things that don't align with it. Now we're getting into alignment with God. Now we're getting into alignment for why you were created. But the longer I'm not doing what I'm called to do, the longer you're not doing what you've been called to do, people suffer. And that group that I was talking about, that group of people that have been called to you, end up getting further and further away from who they've been uniquely called to be. So there's a cost to inaction. And then there's a newfound importance of time. So purpose gives you a newfound importance of time. Because, like I say all the time, you are a limited edition. So when you understand that you've been called to do something, you start to say, well, shoot, especially if you start late, or I'm not going to say if you're starting late, if you're starting later in age, you look around and you say, well, shoot, I didn't waste it. Like I'll use me as example. I didn't really start getting into this. I started the process probably in 2012. I didn't really start walking this thing out until 2019. So that's 7 years I wasn't really pursuing and actively pursuing getting on live, talking to people, making a podcast, putting myself out there as a speaker, making blogs. I haven't been doing that for 7 years. So in 2019, I turned 30. So I turned around and look at myself in 2012 and I said, girl, what was you doing? So now at 30, I have to say, I have to be careful because I don't want to rush things because God will always renew the time. God will always redeem the time. And so I have to say, okay, I'm 30. I want to live forever, but I cannot. I'm a limited edition available for a limited time only. So now I cannot waste my time. So now I begin to question things around me. I question friendships. And I'm going to talk about this in week three, because it's going to get real. I question friendships. I question jobs. I question opportunities. I question people I'm around. I question what I'm doing in my home life. I'm questioning how lazy I am. I'm questioning when I'm waking up in the morning. Listen, y'all, I am not a morning person. But for the past month, I have been getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I've said to myself, I ain't wasting time. I'm sitting here sleep, snoring, enjoying myself, and I'm not working on my vision, my dream. I'm getting up, rushing to work to live somebody else's dream, carry out somebody else's vision. Then I get home, I'm tired. I'm still not doing nothing, still inactive. Girl, still struggling. So it comes with the newfound importance of time. So I want to share a few quotes. So there's Oprah. She says, there is no greater gift you can give or receive than to honor your calling. It's why you were born and how you become most truly alive. So I believe that when you are kind of wandering around life, YOLOing, whatever these young kids are calling it these days, I believe that when we fall into hopelessness and we fall into a YOLO type of situation, it's because we don't really feel alive. We feel like everything we're doing every day is almost a waste of time, and we're gaining time fillers, but we're not truly living life. Because I've said before in a live, yes, you only live once, but your legacy lives forever. Your legacy lives on. And so if you're not thinking to yourself, what am I going to leave behind for the generation after me? I'm not even talking about children, the lives that you're touching. That's still some type of a legacy. What legacy are you leaving behind? And if you're feeling like you're not leaving a legacy behind, more than likely you're not truly living. You're dying every day. We're all dying every day. But there's at least something on the inside of us that says, I'm living for people that are coming after me. I'm living for people that are going to be empowered and impacted by the things that I'm doing now. And that's when you know you're truly alive. When you're thinking about your great, 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 great grandchildren, or you're thinking about the girl that's going to touch the girl, that's going to touch the girl, that's going to touch the next girl, or you're thinking about the guy that's going to touch the next guy, that's going to touch the next guy, that's going to touch the next guy for generations to come, you are living. You are feeling empowered. You are truly living life the way you should be living life. Not just out here just to be out here because you're bored and you really don't know what you called to do. That's really why we out here acting crazy. Because we really don't know what we've been called to do. And so we like, well, I'ma just do this. I'ma just let him do what he wanna do. I'ma just get in this terrible relationship. I'ma just date this terrible guy. I'ma get in and out of relationships because I'm bored, because I don't want to be alone. No, when you know your purpose, you don't have time to entertain foolishness because you're a limited edition, available for a limited time only, and you only have a little bit of time to get out, put in this world what God put in you. So you don't have the time to do that. You're not truly living if you're just entertaining foolishness and wasting your time. Purpose is what causes you to find a newfound importance of time. And so you're seeking out ways to extend your life. You're seeking out ways to make your time valuable. You're seeking out those ways because they matter, because your time is valuable. Another quote, TD Jakes. If you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion. For your passion will lead you right into your purpose. Your passion will lead you right into your purpose. And I believe that passion and purpose, that they intersect. They come together at some point. Many times, and we're going to talk about this next week with what is your purpose. Many times the things that you've been passionate about, the things that you're willing to do for free, the things you're already doing for free is really in alignment with your purpose. It really is. It's in alignment with who you've been called to be. And so when you follow that line, you follow that path of passion, and you say, this is the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning. This is the thing when I see somebody else doing it, my heart is racing, my heart is palpitating. When I see somebody else doing it, I'm picturing myself doing it. When I see somebody else doing it, I want to connect with them. I want it to be my mentor. I want them to do things with me and help me and clear a path for me to come right behind them. That's what people do. That's what your passion does. And when you have that fire that's ignited on the inside of you, follow that, because that will lead you to your purpose. More than likely, that is your purpose. That's an expression of it. That's an expression of how you're going to get dominion over that territory. So you got to follow your passion. What are you passionate about? Now, this ties into what I talked about last month with identity. If your passion is driven simply by what other people have said to you, what other people have encouraged you to do, or is driven by you getting likes, you getting attention, you getting friends, you getting fame, you getting money, more than likely it's not a true passion. More than likely it's something that you just gotten yourself into because you're in it for the benefits. A true passion, you're not worried about benefits. It's something that just drives you to the point, if you're gonna pay me or you not gonna pay me. Like somebody has to make somebody pay you. Like you're gonna have to have a friend or a business partner that says, listen, go get your check. Or you're gonna have to get somebody that says for you, hey, you should get them to pay you. That's true passion. It's not, oh, I love taking pictures of myself in the morning because of all these likes I'm getting. All these people like me. No, they don't. All these people do not like you. They're liking what you're presenting, and it's not really you. It's not the true you. But you're doing it for the attention. You're doing it for the likes. You're doing it for the claim to fame. Because my question becomes to you, if you claim that's your passion and that you're in it for the pure intention, purest heart, if Instagram or Facebook or whatever you're doing died out tomorrow, would you still pursue it? Would you find a way around it? Would you still find a way to do the thing that you are passionate about? If not, that's not your passion, period. But if you are willing to do it on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter, where on Periscope, if you're willing to go and hunt people down, if you're willing to send out emails, if you're willing to drive to go meet somebody, if you're willing to do it for free, if the internet crashed, you would still find a way to do it. That is your passion. If you could see yourself doing it, if money was no object and that's the thing that you chose, that is your passion. And that's going to lead you to the territory that God has given you. All right? I think I got a little bit more. Stick with me. Stick with me. I'm almost done. So Justine Willis Toms, she says, notice when your heart leaps up in joyous exuberance. In these moments, the voice of your spirit is speaking directly to you. And I just talked about that. Those moments where you see somebody else doing something and you're like, whoo, I can see myself doing that. Oh, I can't wait to do that. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to do that. Not for impure intentions, not because you want the fame that they have, but you're willing to do all the work behind the scenes to get to that place. Sitting and working and researching drives you. It gets your heart pumping. It gets your mind going. If you could sit and you could work on it into the wee hours of the night, that thing that just gets your heart going and going and going and going. That is your purpose. That is your passion. And I'm going to read a few scriptures to just tie this all together. One of my favorite books in the Bible is Esther. Like when I first got saved, Esther was the first book I read. I don't know why. Well, it was Proverbs, Psalms, and then on my own, that was suggested to me. On my own, I read Esther. And one of the most amazing stories of Esther, one of the most amazing parts of Esther is that Esther had no idea what was coming. Esther was simply being herself. She and her family, her uncle, were just coming out of captivity, and she steps into this palace and all of a sudden finds favor. She steps into this palace and all of a sudden the beauty that she carries on the outside and the inside is something that's seen as, there's something special. I don't know what it is. It's something special about that. Let me help you with that. And so the person that was in charge of the girls that were being brought in to be taken to the king took a special liking to her. And he knew exactly what to give her and exactly what to do with her, not make her like somebody else. He gave her 6 months of being cleansed, and we'll study this out another time. How long ago was I saved? I got saved initially when I was 12, and then I really gave my life to Christ when I was 19, 20. Someone asked me this question on my I'm talking about podcast. Um, so one of the amazing things about Esther, the first 6 months, she was cleansed. So they used a lot of cleansing oils. The second 6 months was all perfume. So it brought out the natural, even though it was perfume added onto her. We already know, people talk about it all the time, how certain perfumes on certain people smell different. And so the perfumes were not added to her just because the king liked them, because um, we know that it was during college, actually. We know that based on your body composition, it's going to come off different. And so this person knew exactly what to give her to attract the king. And in the midst of her becoming queen, there was a situation that happened with her people. And her uncle said to her, and who, this is Esther 4:14, second part, and who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. So Esther is in there thinking she just the king's queen. She just the king's, get down partner. No, Esther was specifically placed where she was supposed to be so that she could stand in the gap for her people. And that's a piece of her purpose. That was a piece of her walking in who she had been called to be, allowing those around her to pour into her what they knew that she needed, not trying to make her like anybody else, pour into her what they knew she needed. And then that in itself got her into the correct position to do exactly what God had called her to do all along. So there's a place in you. There's something in you that God has already poured in. You have, it's a Kanye West song. I know people hate Kanye West, but he says, we have everything we need. Esther had everything she needed going in. You have everything you need going into your purpose, taking over your territory. You have everything that you need. And because you have everything that you need, the people that you should allow around you and the people that you should allow to pour into you should be people that are going to give you and help pour out of you what you need, and help to pull those things out of you, to help pull the best places out of you, but to also get rid of the things that you don't need, so that once you go before the king, once you go before the people that you've been called to, once you step into that territory, they automatically accept you, because you've gotten rid of the things you didn't need. You got rid of the old identity. You got rid of the person you used to be. And now you have been given the things that help to accentuate what you've already been given from the start. They help to accentuate you in your natural state. They get rid of the fake things and they add on to you and help to bring out the things that are already in you from your natural state. So we think about it from the aspect of identity, what I talked about last month, getting rid of the old identity, the fake you that you put on display for people to see, getting rid of that. So that way we can get you back to your natural state, your identity, your natural identity. And I talk about that in week 3 of last month. Go check that video out. Get back to the natural state of who you are. So that way, when all of the things that are added onto you to help pull out the greatness in you that's already there, it's not pulling on the false parts of you. It's not pulling on the pieces of you that are not organic to who you are, but it's actually just adding on to who you already are. It's helping to bring out those beautiful fragrances of your identity. So that way, when you walk before the people that need to hear your message, and you're with the people that need you, the authentic you, you fit right in. You're not trying to fit in. You're not trying to be somebody you're not. You're being your authentic self. All right. And another scripture I'm gonna read, which is Romans. No, let me read Proverbs 20:5. It says, "The purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out." The purposes of a person's heart are deep water. So your purpose lies deep. Mind you, that's saying that it's in you, but one who has insight draws them out. And so this month, I'm going to help give you insight. I'm going to give you insight. We just knocking on the door. Because, like I said, purpose and how it's expressed is a lifelong journey. But help you understand the territory you've been given and the lane you're focusing in. That's what we're here to do. Help you with that foundation. And last but not least, Romans 8:28, my favorite scripture. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to him who are called according to his purpose. All things work together. So even if you've made mistakes, even if you've been living as somebody else, even if you've been living in your false identity, God causes everything to work together for his good. For his good, for your good. He causes everything to work together. So it is not too late for you to walk in your purpose. Your purpose is not something that is on the other side of town. Your purpose, as in Proverbs 20:5, the purposes of a person's heart are deep waters. And I think it's wonderful that it's deep because that means it's not surface. That means it's not something that people can get quick access to. And it's not something you can give people quick access to. And it's something that you don't give yourself quick access to until you are ready, until you understand what it is and why you've been called to do it. It's something that once you access it, it's so deep. Once you get in those deep waters, if you go swimming and people tell you not to go out too far because the deep waters, the deep currents begin to carry you all type of different ways. That's how that purpose is. Because once you get in those deep waters of your purpose, there's no getting out. And you can try and you can climb and you can try to latch yourself onto the side of whatever. But once you get in those deep roots of that purpose and the deep waters of your purpose, it is hard to get out because then you start to understand how important time is. Then you start to understand that there's a responsibility that's attached to it. And you don't want to get out. Because you say to yourself, like in that fear setting, you say to yourself, what's the cost of my inaction? Now that I'm here, now that I'm in this purpose thing, now that I'm understanding what I've been called to do, now that I understand the territory that I've been given, if I try to get out of this thing, if I scream for somebody to come and get me out, what about the people that are caught there? Come on, somebody. What about the people that are in those deep waters, in my deep waters, in my purpose, that need what I'm trying to give them? What about them? What about them? So that's the cost of that inaction. So once you get into those deep waters of your purpose, that's deep inside your spirit, that God has put there from the beginning of time, you got to stay in it. It's a responsibility that comes with it. You can't just jump in and jump out. This is not your grandma's backyard pool, honey. This is the deep waters of the Lord. And when you tap into that spirit and you tap into those deep waters of your purpose, it's hard to get out because you understand the responsibility that comes with it. You understand the lives that are tied to it. Me walking in Hey Girl is Allyson, me helping women to embrace their uniqueness inside and out. There's a cost if I don't do this thing. And it's a cost that I don't want to face because I look on social media and I see what these young girls are doing. I look on Twitter and I see what they're saying. I look on TikTok and I see how they're exposing themselves young. I see how they're pretending to be something they're not. I see them all here recording themselves fighting on the corner all the time. And they don't know their value and they don't know their worth. And the longer I keep my mouth shut because I'm scared that nobody will listen to me, because I'm scared of what people from my past are going to say, they are falling by the wayside. They are suffering. But once I access that deep place, those deep waters in me that are tied to my purpose, now when I look at them, I see greatness. Now when I look at them, I'm not afraid to say something. I would get on social media. I haven't done it in a while. I would get on social media and I would see somebody, a young girl post something, and I get directly in her inbox. And I would say, sweetheart, do you know you are valuable? You don't have to do that. I don't want you tapping into that. That's not you. You are a pure vessel. You are a pure vessel. Don't tap into that. That's not what you were born and created to do. And I've gotten responses. That one girl, she even took down something I commented on. I don't come at them in a negative way, but I come at them reminding them of the greatness that dwells on the inside of them. I come at them reminding them that they have been called to greatness, that they're queens, that they're princesses, that they're destined for greatness. And I get in their inboxes and it's a simple reminder. Or maybe it's simply me educating them for the first time because they didn't know. But the longer I sit with my mouth shut, the longer that goes on. The longer that goes on. So, what is purpose? Let me read last one. Exodus. I just saw this when I wrote it. Exodus 9:16. But I have raised you up for this very purpose, that I might show you my power, and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth. So also understand that your purpose is not just for you, but it's also for people to see the greatness that God, the great things that God has done in you. When I talked about my story before, when I was in college, I was out here thotting. I'm not gonna lie. I had my issues of engaging in sexual activities with different men on my campus, and so I knew that I had a feeling. Part of my identity struggle was that the only way that I could receive love and get love was if I were to give over my body. And so when it came time for me to be married, there was a fear because it was, well, how is anybody going to love me with my past? How is anybody going to accept me and want to be committed to me because of my past? And then on top of that, I'm thinking people are going to take my marriage as a joke because of who I used to be. But when people saw me get married and they see my marriage and they understand the struggles that I've had in my marriage, but also the successes, and they're seeing that I love my husband loves me, and that we had two beautiful children, that's not me that gets the glory. It's definitely not me. It's God that gets the glory. How can God turn a situation around like that? How can God turn a woman around like that? That's all glory to God. And part of my purpose is when people see me, they see God. They see that God has done something great in my life. And so your purpose is not just for you to, get in your territory and take over, but it's also for people to see you, how God has created you, and ask themselves, how did God do that? And give God glory in that. So just a quick recap. Purpose is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. You have a reason why you've been created. There's a reason that you exist. There are people out there that need you. There's a territory that is out there for you. So it's up to you. So join me next week as I talk about helping you identify, get the foundational pieces for your purpose. I'm not God, so I'm not gonna sit here and be like, that's your purpose. But I have created I've created a worksheet that helped me to identify where I believe God will set me up, and then I allow God to do the rest. So I'm gonna help to build somewhat of a foundation, and then I'm going to let God do the rest of your life, reveal it to you. But I'm going to put the worksheet up next week on Sunday, but I will be on here again hopefully later this week. If I'm not, check out the blog, check out my Instagram. I'll be still talking about what purpose is, but I just want you all to get a real understanding. So question I want you to answer for yourself is, where's that question? So what is purpose to you? Purpose to you means what? Okay, I want you to identify that. Purpose to me means the reason that you were created. Is purpose to you something that you're destined to do? Is purpose to you a passion mixed with other things? What is purpose to you? So I want you to reflect on that. What does purpose mean to you? Is it still a cliche? Is it something you still need to get clarity on? What is purpose to you? All right. So follow me on my social media channels. Instagram, hey girl _ it's Allyson, Allyson. Twitter, hey girl underscore it's Allie, because they won't let me put all the letters to my name. It's fine. Facebook, hey girl, it's Allyson. Podcast available everywhere. Hey girl, it's Allyson. We hey girl in it. It's Allyson. All 2020 and beyond. So go ahead and join me. If you would like a little bit more one-on-one, discovering what your purpose is, getting the foundation, praying with you, helping you to kind of sort through some things which might be necessary. Sign up, go to my website, AllisonARobinson.com, click work with me, and then click a purpose cultivation call. And I will get on the phone with you or on Zoom, wherever is most comfortable. And we will sit, we'll hash this thing out, get some understanding, even if it's on over identity, whatever it is, reach out to me. But yeah, I love y'all. Thank you. Share this broadcast. I'm going to repost it on to YouTube as long as it saves, because Periscope be trying to play me sometimes, but it's fine. But thank you all for joining me. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the support. I love y'all. Peace. Oh, wait. Sorry.